Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly gaming podcast releasing every Thursday. I am your host, Alex Stadnick, and joined with me, I'm honored to be joined by the illustrious Alex Van Aken, my co-host.
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, my friend.
Join us each episode alongside a rotating crew of GI editors and special guests from around the industry, like this week, as we bring you the latest gaming news, reviews, and big man swag your eyes and ears can handle. This week, oh, it's a big one, folks. We got Gamescom news. We got Psychonauts 2 review. And without further ado, the EIC himself is here, the reviewer of Psychonauts for Game Informer, Andrew Reiner. Hello, sir.
Hello, Alexes. How you doing today?
Good. We totally, I want you to know that we rocked the last episode, no problems whatsoever. So we want to make sure we're on the same page, right?
It was kind of like in Sea of Thieves when you like run up against a rock, and so like the water starts coming in, but you're like, I've got the wood. And like you're patching as you go. That was last week's episode.
Yeah.
See, I wanted to throw a question at both of you at once, and I wanted both of you to just start talking over each other.
Okay.
But that did not happen. So you already figured out who's going to talk first.
There we go. Yeah, we finished each other's sandwiches, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And then I told y'all we got a special guest this week, right? You know him, you love him. Thank you so much for joining us. Jesse Vitelli, editor at Prima Games. Hello, sir.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored to be amongst y'all. This is a good time.
Yeah, I'm so appreciative that you could join us. For the people who don't know you, can we get a little intro, a little deep dive into the mind of Jesse Vitelli? Who are you? Who the hell are you?
I'm Jesse Vitelli. I'm a Libra. My first AOL screen name was Scooby1016.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm an editor over at primagames.com. You might know them. You may have bought one of their guides one time. We like to do the guides, news, features, reviews, sort of deal. I've been there for over a year now. Wow, time really does fly. It's been a long time.
I remember when you got that job.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but yeah, you mostly find me there and my musings on Twitter. That's really kind of where I hang out. But yeah, just covering the news and the guides and all sorts of fun stuff.
And you are one of the first people, at least on my timeline, who has 100%ed Psychonauts 2 already.
I have. I was, I wasn't going to throw the flex out that early, but I appreciate you building me up a little bit. Yeah, it sort of just happened.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
right.
But it was the last hour or so definitely was me hunting pixels, but no. It's just a game I enjoy.
Yeah, which we will get to. We will get to in a little bit here. So, if you missed last week's show and you're like, "What's happening? Who are these fools?" Welcome to the new era of the Game Informer show. We are rocking a new format. We're trying some new games, some new community initiatives, and we are honored to be joined by you. So give us a shot. Let us know what you think. The feedback this week was awesome, like genuinely.
Thank you.
At podcast@gameinformer.com, on Discord, tweets, the whole thing. So we really appreciate the support, and we're excited for the new era. So, but let's get this business out of the way. We're here to talk about games, video games.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest events of the year is Gamescom every year, right? A little different, right? We're in a digital age in the midst of COVID and Delta, and the devs have started to figure out how to work this. And today, especially yesterday, if you're just listening to this, Jeff Keighley knocked it out of the park with his opening night live, which I was very impressed with. I think those shows have come a long way from kind of finding, especially with like Game Awards and Summer Games Fest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Keighley kind of finding the right way to pace these things. And I don't know, gentlemen, I would love your feedback as well, but I think this was his best one yet.
I didn't get to watch because I was working on other things, but I was kind of keeping an eye on gameinformer.com/news. And it seemed like there was just a slew of awesome announcements, big ones too. It seemed like, and from what you're saying, it seemed like each show that Jeff puts on, he gets a little bit better, kind of tightens it just a little bit more. And yeah, I'm excited that he's continuing to produce these shows.
Yeah.
Gamescom, we would usually get like further looks at games, like hands-on with demos you maybe saw as a video or trailer at E3. But this year it really felt like E3 was part one and Gamescom was part two in terms of game announcements. There was just a ton there, as Alex was saying, that it was just one after another of like, I want to play that. I didn't even know that existed. Like, yeah, there was some great stuff there.
For sure. Jesse, how'd you feel?
His maroon suit
right?
Very
styling.
maroon suit was styling up there.
The man's getting the swagger down. I'm always looking forward to what his shoes are going to be because he always changes that up a little bit. And I thought it was a little understated this time, but like nicely fit the outfit. It looked good. Jesse,
oh dang! Yeah, I just looked up his suit. Wow. Yeah. He's styling.
Good suit. There he is. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think like as a pacing thing, it worked well, right? Like not one thing went on too long. Like we got extended looks at like Call of Duty and stuff, which we can get into. But yeah, I felt like by the time I was kind of like, I've seen enough of this thing, he was already rolling into the next thing. And he put Lindsey Sterling, the musical guest. He always loves to have musical performances. I felt like this one was concise, to the point, great. There was like a visual element to it. It really just worked well.
Well, and he did that with, or him and his team did that with Japanese Breakfast and Sable last time we saw it too. So it's like there's a purpose to these instead of something like the Oscars where it's like, I just want this is cool. I listen to this on Spotify. Like, let me get to the main award show here.
Right.
So, but let's get into it. If you want the full breakdown, you can go over to GameInformer.com. But I think for the sake of hype, we're going to talk about the big hitters for us personally. And I mean, it started right away with Saints Row, the reboot, like out of the gate, like coming in hot. So, trailer featuring the new characters, the new gangs and whatnot. And it took me a second to realize like what this was, because I feel like I'm so used to Saints Row as this like irreverent, like, superheroes, interesting swords, we'll say, we'll keep it PG. The color purple. And it was very much subdued. And I'm curious, Reiner, what were your thoughts when you first saw the trailer and then the subsequent gameplay that we saw?
I immediately thought, we have not got a game like this in a long time, an open world, modern, kind of hijack cars type of, experience. And Saints Row was one of the best back in the day before it went totally gonzo with the heroes. And I think they went to heaven or hell or something to end their series. But, coming back with a reboot like this and it kind of it looks a lot like 3. I got that kind of vibe from where they were going, but beautiful. Those short gameplay clips that we saw, I was like salivating over those. Like, I loved the Grand Theft Auto type of games and I loved the Saints Row games. And I want this one too. Like, I think it's hitting at the right time with nothing else around it. And hopefully they can pull it off. What was it? February next year or March?
February. So so we thought February was going to be dry, but absolutely not anymore.
No.
That is changing very quickly. It's weird because I'm such a Crackdown guy, but I never got into Saints Row in a similar vein. And it feels like that would have been right up my alley, especially when they were like, okay, we're not GTA. Like, we're going to sever that. Because I think the first game was kind of like samey to Grand Theft Auto a little bit.
First 2.
Yeah. And then they kind of found their own niche. So I'm excited for this to give me a reason to get excited about Saints Row. So Jesse, are you a Saints Row guy?
So I started the series with 2. I never played the first one. Fell in love with 2, and then I really loved 3. And then I never ended up playing a whole lot of 4. I think it like went too far in that direction for me a little bit. And like at the point that I think 4 came out in like 2013, I think by that point I had just been kind of done with that sort of style of game. But this trailer, this sort of like, it's slightly more grounded, but also like still a little over the top. I'm like, all right, I could get into this. I think like a full set of new characters and everything could do really well, and I think it'll bring me in.
Yeah, I said it on stream unknowingly at the time, but I was getting minor like Sunset Overdrive vibes for a second, and I was like, yo, if they can get some of that Insomniac feeling in there with the weapons and stuff, I'm all in. Mr. Van Aken, thoughts on? Or are you not a Saints Row guy?
I actually have a fondness for Saints Row because I played the original games, but I always kind of bounced off of them. But I have a lot of great memories watching my stepdad play the game. He was all about collecting the cars from the game. He had all these garages built out. Like his end game was just finding cars, filling his garages. And so I have a lot of fond memories of the first 2 games. And I kind of like steered away just by happenstance from the 3rd and 4th one. I've played them. I've played 3, but never got too deep. And I am a big Crackdown fan like you, and I'm ready to kind of dive into a new Saints Row. This being like a reboot, a new fresh take, kind of seems like the perfect time for somebody like me to get in.
Yeah, Saints 3 was one of my favorite co-op experiences. Like that's just an amazing game to play with buddies or one buddy, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that comes back. Like if they're really trying to channel the best elements of the series, I think you really put the target on 3 and just try to recreate that, bring it to the next level. The setting too, the desert and kind of casino vibes and all that stuff. I'm all about it.
The American Southwest. So green chili. I can't wait. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So launch is set for February 25th, 2022. So, and as we're learning about February, like I said, it's getting nutty. So that's a hell of a way to start the show, right? Right there, you have a tent pole, but Jeff said, no, we're going to keep this popping. Another new game after it, Marvel Midnight Suns from the Firaxis team, who, if y'all don't know, responsible for a little game called XCOM. Don't know if you've played it. Don't know if you've heard of it. And I think this one has been rumored in different capacities for a while. And then we finally got the confirmation that this is a thing today. Those suits look baller. I want to walk up into the club with them. Oh my God. I don't even like the club, and I would walk up in those kind of suits. Like, it looks funky. I don't know what y'all thought in the best way possible. And like, I love that we're starting to get these kind of what if stories, right? Because Marvel's doing what if on Disney Plus, but like these different stories with different characters, like Ghost Rider, like and Wolverine together. Get out of it. And Blade, like it looks. I'm intrigued. It's not like I feel like we're so used to third person action games for our Marvel stuff right now, so it's like it's definitely not. But as someone who is getting into more tactical experiences, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't know, Jesse, what'd you think?
So it's cool because like you said, we'd heard so many rumors about this thing and like so many different forms of like it's going to only have custom characters and it's not. And then they just come out and they're like, no, here's Wolverine, here's Ghost Rider, here's Blade, Captain America, like Captain Marvel, we're going. And just I love that Ghost Rider is becoming a just like staple, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. We're bringing Ghost Rider back. Ghost Rider's back to stay. And I'm like, yeah, that's like, let's do it. And as far as like tactical games go, I just started playing XCOM 2 again a couple weeks ago. I put out that tweet where I was like, just everyone who wants to be a part of the campaign can go. So I'm in a full like tactical RPG mode. I'm ready. Can't wait for this thing.
Cool. Reiner, how about you?
Well, if you go to GameInformer.com right now, you'll see that this game, Marvel's Midnight Suns, is on our new cover.
Yes, it is, baby.
So the cover art by Ryan Stegman, who you know from Venom and all sorts of comics. I've been working with so many comic artists lately. It's kind of turning into Comic Book Informer, but you know, that's a big story right now. Like, really think about what Disney's doing in the game space. One of the biggest stories unfolding right now is them approaching big developers and having them work on these beloved IP. Insomniac and Spider-Man is probably the one that really kicked things off. But look across the industry now. You got Machine Games and Indiana Jones, Star Wars in Respawn's hands and Massive's hands. And now you have, also Eidos Montreal on Guardians of the Galaxy. And now you have Firaxis, the XCOM creators, doing Marvel's Midnight Suns. And buckle up for this one. Like, seriously, this game looks awesome. Like, this is one of those demos that we saw a couple months ago, and it was just like mouth on the floor, you know, just jaw on the floor. I didn't place my mouth on the floor. But yeah, it looks incredible, and we have a 12-page dive into this, and then a full month of coverage on top of that. So plug Informer as well today.
Yeah,
keep the plugs coming.
I mean, let's keep that hype rolling. We have a really great month of video coverage on it as well, so be sure to stay tuned for that.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Yeah, your body is ready, excited. And we have some real. The team at Firaxis was really awesome, and it's some of the best looking footage that we've had in the pandemic era. So be sure to check out that. So Midnight Suns was fun. Trying to keep my lid on stream while that was on screen was not easy to do, but we got through it. So moving right along, we got to Call of Duty Vanguard. We got the first look at the campaign, which has little vignette, or not little vignettes, but it's tackling the different theaters of war. And they brought Laura Bailey on stage because she's voicing one of the characters. And it was this stealth sequence going through her military base right in Germany. I wasn't exactly sure where. Looks very similar to like the Modern Warfare engine. I think I've read that it's in that. But some exciting pieces for me was that gun mounting is back, which I don't know if they said anything on that beforehand, but obviously it was missing from Black Ops Cold War. Didn't enjoy its omission there. We're getting this tale of this expert sniper, which is going to be interesting, and I'm excited to explore these different theaters. So, gents, any thoughts on Vanguard? Any hype? Anything you didn't want to or want to see more of, that kind of stuff?
I think overall, I'm still not playing any Blizzard games right now, but it's for sure interesting because for the first time, the writing team on this is almost, from what I've gathered, almost entirely women, and that makes me interested in what this could be because with such a different writing team, I think that they could explore some topics that maybe the series hasn't tackled before, or maybe they can explore a different side that maybe previous writers couldn't. And so I'm definitely interested for that reason.
Yeah, definitely. Reiner?
It's like an annual thing. It's like the groundhog coming out and seeing a shadow or not. It's like there's a Call of Duty. It's always right there. And I get excited around this time of the year for the next one. And, with Battlefield going ultra modern, having little wingsuits and all that stuff, kind of going back in time a little bit. I think you get a nice little flavor of both worlds, like modern and historical. And they always make great campaigns. Not always great, but they're fun. There's always a lot of fun and interesting, big set piece moments and sequences to be a part of, like stealth and all that, like we saw today or yesterday, I guess, for viewers. But it looks cool, and I'm in. That'll be day one for me.
For sure. Jesse, are you a COD fan?
Call of Duty's so hit or miss for me. Some are better than others. I like Modern Warfare 2019. Absolutely adored that game. Black Ops Cold War, wasn't super hot on it. But from what I saw from the campaign of this one, I'm at least interested to go dive into a Call of Duty campaign, which I feel like I haven't been in a while. I'm usually more of a multiplayer person when it comes to Call of Duty. So after seeing the gameplay and Laura Bailey talking about her character and stuff, I was like, you know what? I'm interested in this. And similar sentiments to what Alex said about the writers, and just like hoping that they explore something different. I don't necessarily need like the war hero, like military person, like doing all the cool stuff. It's like, no, tell me like a grounded human story. I'm in for that.
Definitely. I think, man, maybe Black Ops 1 or World at War were the last times I thought the campaign was like the highlight of the experience for Call of Duty. And I would love for something like this to really change that up and have that on a top 10 narrative list, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the diverse team is interesting on that. So also to Alex's point quickly, if you're interested on the Activision Blizzard lawsuits, we have a ton of write-ups on the site. So be sure to check that out to see the latest on what's going on with that really, really awful situation. So support out to the devs who have been affected. So moving right along, we're going, baby. 0 to 100 real quick. The big one, of course, for me, as if you've watched me over the last 2 years, hopefully not through my window, but I'm a big Halo fan. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know either.
I don't know. We're gonna keep moving past it. I live and breathe John 117. He's my boy. Yes. He's my man. And after a little bit of confusion from the Xbox stream where he was nary to be found, 343 got up on stage with Jeff, and they announced a couple of exciting things. We saw that there's going to be a story in the Halo Infinite multiplayer suite, similar to probably what like Warzone has been doing, right? Little stories here and there.
Apex has kind of been doing it too. They've got these comic books that you can go and find stuff in the world, and if you collect them, then you can go back to the menus and see these stories play out. Is that how it is in Warzone, I imagine? There's usually like a cutscene at the beginning of each season, kind of fills you in on the lore. Yeah.
Remember when Fortnite had that single player experience. They kind of reminded me of that, where it's just like it looks like there's a little narration leading into the big war or whatever they're going to be setting up.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think they're trying to engage on that front, right, where they haven't had to before because their multiplayer and their campaign have been, cohesive. So they showed a little bit about that, but the big hitter was that we finally got the date, ladies and gentlemen, December 8th. Can you believe it? Because I can't at this point. Like I feel like I've had
worried.
Yeah, right. Like it's like if they're not going to show today, is this game even come out this year? And luckily, the answer is yes, December 8th. So I wanted to see a campaign trailer because that's the big thing, right? They're like campaign multiplayer December 8th. And I want to know more about that story, but also I don't. It's a fickle situation, right? Because I'm excited to know about the next chapter, but also like I'm good for surprises too, But I felt like that would have been a good way to kind of cap that off, just to kind of be of reassurance where it's like, nope, this game is coming still. You know what I mean? Like we're here, we're almost there, we're almost gold. Like we're almost there, we're almost to the finish line. So
yeah.
So I'm excited. It's like now it's like okay, give me the game. Like, and then now we know when we're gonna get it. So, Jesse, any thoughts on Halo? I'm learning about you as we go over the show. So I apologize.
This is great.
I don't know you're a fan of them.
No, that's fine. Halo 3. I mean, back in the day was like my game. That was the game my friends and I played. I'm one of those sickos that loves Forge and custom games. So like, I'm always. I feel like I'm always left out in that regard. But as for the campaign, I really want to see more because I feel like we've gotten so much multiplayer over the past like 2 months with the tech tests and the multiplayer trailer at E3 and now another multiplayer thing. Like you said, like I'm in for surprises, but I feel like I don't know much about this campaign at all. And I would love just like another look at it because the last time we saw the campaign, like gameplay wise, a lot's changed since then, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know how it's changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
totally. That's a very good call. I was one of the people that I thought the campaign looked decent the first time around. I know a lot of people had opinions. I saw the grappling hook and I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I see the vision.
Fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we did get a little context in E3 this year where the story is setting. It's not so much. I mean, spoilers for Halo 5. Mute for a couple of seconds, but it's not the chief Cortana battle royale that we thought necessarily. It's more unraveling the mystery of like why Cortana was in this, or what led to Cortana being that way. We know a little bit about that right from the other games, but then like this whole section we're missing, and we're going to fill in the pieces for that. And
she went rampant.
And she did. Well, a little too rampant for my taste.
Yeah.
Just saying. So
don't make a girl a promise you can't keep. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
That's for the Halo 4 fans in the room.
Which there are many. Not to be outdone though, they said this is Halo, right? We got to celebrate the right way. And they also announced the Halo Infinite Elite 2 controller.
Yeah, I don't care about Halo Infinite anymore now. I just want that controller.
The controller.
I was excited for a second about Halo, and then I was like, I'm going to spend all my money on that controller. So sorry, Master Chief, but your journey's going to have to wait.
And I don't know why in my head I was like, the Elite controller is reasonable. I think I can buy that, right? And then I looked and it's $200. And I was like,
it is
they're
beautiful.
expensive controllers.
Yeah, for real. But it is gorgeous. If you're a Chief fan, they even have like his back ports where he inputs like Cortana and his AI and stuff. It is.
Oh, that's cool.
It looks so good. And I don't know who did it over at Xbox, but I love that they got together and were like, yo, people go crazy for controllers. Like, let's just do this up, because yesterday we saw the Forza Horizon 5 controller, which looked bonkers in itself.
That's the one I want.
Yeah.
That Forza controller is very nice. Bring back more translucent plastic.
Yeah,
I want to see through.
Yeah, I loved it on my Game Boy Color back in the day. And it's like, I don't think I can spend $300 on controllers this year, but
you can.
I can.
Yeah, just don't play Halo Infinite.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, just have the controllers and then just wait till next year to play stuff on them.
Perfect. Yeah. Or maybe I won't pay rent this month. I'm sure that won't be an issue. I'll talk to my partner. She'll be fine. So, and then the final piece of the Halo pie, outside of it winning the Gamescom Best Xbox Game, which I didn't understand the Gamescom awards.
I never understand the Gamescom awards.
I don't know what we were judging those off. I don't. It's besides the point. But they also announced a special edition of the Series X console, which just looked sleek, smooth, and I definitely can't buy that one. I know that for a fact. Especially, I'm looking at like the Steam Deck. I want to switch OLED. I got to prioritize here. I want to eat. Eating is usually helpful.
That's important. Yeah.
That limited edition's $550. I mean, like, granted, I get it, but well, that's a lot of money.
I already have 3 handhelds pre-ordered the next 6 months. I can't. I already have a Series X.
So do I.
What do you have pre-ordered?
Can I guess? Can I guess?
I mean, there's only 3.
Steam Deck, Playdate, OLED.
Yeah, you already knew because we're in Discord with each other, and we're the ones who told each other to buy these things.
Let the audience know that I'm.
Oh yeah, great guess,
I'm just
Jesse.
really good at my job.
That's why we brought him in.
Yeah.
So a lot to be excited about if you're a Halo fan. I know I am, and now there's kind of a relief in my system. I was like, okay, we're getting December 8th, baby. I also think Dying Light 2 is really close to then, which sucks. But
the day before.
Yeah, is what it is. Gentlemen, that
just means I get to do the video review for Dying Light 2, and that is fine by me. Let me just say.
Oh, stake in the claim. I love it. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Ain't no rest for the gamers, my friends. Moving right along. I think some of the AAA big hype moments kind of started to end there, besides one thing we'll get to, which made way for, I think, my highlight of the show. And that is Cult of the Lamb from Devolver Digital. And y'all, I had no concept that this game even existed, but now it's all I can think about. It's very much in the same light of I need more detail on it. We're coming off the recording, but it is, you play as a lamb, and it seems to be like a roguelite, whatever. And you create this cult, and it has these incredible like 2.5D graphics and animations, and it's very whimsical while also sacrificing your animal cult members to whatever god you're praying to. It looks absolutely bonkers, and I was like, I am so here for this the second I saw it. Reiner, did you love it?
No, you want to stay away from the cults, man. You don't want to go there.
Oh, I shouldn't drink the Kool-Aid.
No, yeah, you want to avoid that and the sacrificing of animals whenever you can.
But if a lamb is giving you Kool-Aid.
Yeah, there you go. If the lamb blood's Kool-Aid, that game looks awesome. It looks bonkers in the best way. And I'm right there with you, Alex. I was very, very surprised by that one.
Yeah, for real. It's an action RPG, as I'm learning from a quick Google search. So Jesse, how about you? What'd you think?
They had me sold as soon as the trailer walked up to like a pentagram with a bunch of sheep, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in. I don't know what this is, but I'm here for it. And then it just kept getting crazier from there. I love a good cult.
Hey, man.
There you go.
It's more fun. I also want to point out that it does have town building elements to it. So like I said, like you're building your cult, so like a twisted Animal Crossing, perhaps. Like, oh, VA, I'm telling you, man, this is about to get nutty when this comes out next year.
This sounds like my kind of game. Yeah.
For real. So
I used to work at a church, so like this is kind of like, my wheelhouse.
Up your alley.
No,
not that I worked at a cult, but
kind of the opposite of the church, but right. Each their own.
It's from Massive Monsters, which I'm not familiar with the dev, but instantly like highlight level of my show of a great show, and they showed gameplay of it, right? So it feels real. They only said 2022 as far as I remember, but it's nutty, y'all. And if you're watching the video version, you have the trailer up now, and I'm very excited. It's kind of like Death's Door in that I didn't know this game existed until like the moment of, and when I did, I was like, this is perfect. I want this in my life right now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So the last main highlight from Gamescom that I have. Obviously they did Far Cry 6. I'm excited for Far Cry, but I'm ready. Like I've seen that game so many times now. I want that game. Also, didn't realize that the main character shared the name of Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, which is interesting. So there's a little fun fact for you.
One of the best shows on TV.
Facts, big facts. Outside of What We Do in the Shadows, right, Reiner?
That's right. Oh, very soon, the next season. I'm pumped.
Wait. Yeah, FX,
I gotta watch
baby.
these.
They're so good. Like, write these down, Jesse. They will not lead you astray, I promise.
Okay.
Probably like the cult that we've all tried to join at one point in our lives. But to kind of keep the hype of the Jeff Keighley stream going during Summer Games Fest, he got Elden Ring. And this one, I feel like one of his biggest gets was that Horizon Forbidden West team got up there and released the release date for the sequel, which I thought was crazy. We didn't see new gameplay, but February 18th, 2022 just keeps building on February. And I liked how upfront the dev team was about, they were so close on that date. They just needed to polish, and they weren't ready to announce it when we first saw it. But to have that so soon in the year next year is crazy exciting. Like, I don't know. Are you guys Horizon fans? Like, Reiner, I think you're excited for it, right?
Oh, big time. Robot dinosaurs. Yeah. Story driven Sony experience. I mean, every time they do something that's single player story driven, it's like lights out. I mean, lately, like that, the entire last gen, it was just like, wow, all these games, like every one of them, even Days Gone, I enjoyed, it was like, so yeah, I'm in, until they lead me astray, kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I watch every one of those and it's like, that was really good.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Sony's single player experiences.
Yeah, definitely. And just from, like I said, we didn't get new gameplay today necessarily, but we did get reminded of how good that other, that the stuff we saw earlier this year looks. And I'm can't wait to see what they do with that controller too. I'm very excited for that, for the haptics and whatnot, and to see where the story goes. So Alex, how about you?
I played about 5 hours of Horizon Zero Dawn, and then Breath of the Wild released and became my favorite game of all time. Yep. So, after that happened, I didn't go back. But
what?
I know, because I'm a terrible person.
You cannot join my cult. Hey, people that played Horizon are allowed in the Reiner cult.
Fair. I got past the tutorial, right? No, I did really enjoy what I played of Horizon. Got sidetracked by Breath of the Wild, and then I'm not sure what happened after that. No excuses. But leading up to Forbidden West, I've really been liking what I've been seeing. They've got a paraglider now. Shout out to Breath of the Wild.
The first game to ever use a paraglider.
Exactly, baby. First open world game, not looking at you, Far Cry. But like seeing those improvements and seeing just how that already vibrant world is coming to life on PS5, it just looks awesome. And so I'm going to be replaying and finishing this time around Horizon Zero Dawn. And it looks like I got to do it in the next couple months too, because this thing is coming out.
Well, I'm going to come to Alex's defense on here, because I too can't join the cult of Reiner, even though I've heard your cookies are the best. We will one day though, because I also haven't finished it, because I'm a bad person. But on top of the Horizon 2 release date, we also got an update that the PS5 version of the first Horizon is getting 60 frames per second. So it's like, now this is the ultimate way to play.
You know what? Yeah. Live stream Horizon Zero Dawn, YouTube playing it. Let's do it.
Done.
I'd be down.
Done deal. Sign us up, baby. Yeah. Jesse, can you commentate on us for the fools who haven't played it, or are you not joining Reiner's cult either?
I am joining Reiner's cult, because not only have I beaten this game, I've beaten it twice and the DLC. So, not to come in here and show you two up, but you all need to play this game. It's very good.
Yeah.
I did get sidetracked with Breath of the Wild, much like Alex, which I just watched a really great video essay on how Breath of the Wild made somebody a Zelda fan. I don't remember where I saw it. I think it was... You never saw it? But anyway, I digress. I am very excited for Forbidden West. I'm happy we finally have a solid release date. I think we were very hopeful that it would be this year, but like they said, it's been a difficult year and a half and whatever for developers. So I'm just happy we know that game's coming soon, and now we know that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to show up like 2 days after it and try and eat its lunch again, because that's how the world works.
Nintendo is just waiting. Yeah, I love it. So, I think that was a good look at that for sure. So, so I'm excited, and now, like Alex said, we have the timer is officially ticking to February, and now there's no excuse to not play it. So, and now my boss wants me to play it, so I can't say no to that. Yeah. So,
I'll just leave, my comments in the streams like I do, and just razz you guys as much as possible.
I'm gonna start putting you in timeout. You're coming in hot here. So that does it for the opening night live highlights for me, gents. I don't know if I missed anything. Commenters, I'm sure there's stuff y'all are excited about that you can leave in the comments, but those are the big pillars. And I think that's a great show. Like I feel like any dev or any publisher who puts out a show would dream of something like that, and Jeff was able to do that today or yesterday. So shout out to him. It was a great time. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna get to what you came for, baby. Psychonauts 2. Let's do it. Ooh, welcome back to the GI show. I've learned that as the host, I get to do hostly things like make executive decisions. And I told you, I lied, dear viewers. I'm sorry. I said we're gonna get to Psychonauts, and we are. But we're just going to make it the playlist right now, baby. We're in the playlist because Alex also has a game that he's very excited to talk about. But we're going to get to Psychonauts first. So, Mr. Reiner, you reviewed the game for us, the latest Double Fine joint. And let's kick it off from there, my friend. What'd you think?
I wrote many words about this game, and joyfully, this is a game, a sequel that was 16 years in the making. They didn't spend all 16 years working on the game, but fans were waiting that long between installments, and it feels like it. It really does feel like this massive labor of love from Double Fine Productions, and they've honed their craft. Whether it's the platforming, the way they tell their story, the humor, the number of puns. They probably spent 16 years just digging all those up. It really is a fun journey from start to finish. Colorful. The jokes, the humor, it all lands. I was giggling through the whole thing, smiling through the whole thing, and also being challenged. I think they've upped their game in terms of platforming. They're not, on the same level as the Marios or the great platformers out there, but have improved. Double Fine has improved the platforming mechanics and kind of the scenarios that they put you in for those sequences, and they do a good job of changing things up when they need to, and kind of surprising you, with the twists and turns, not only in terms of the story where that goes, there's a lot of surprises there, but also just kind of what comes next from the gameplay. And I can't recommend it enough. I gave it a 9 out of 10, and it really was worth the wait, and I think people, fans especially, are going to love where this game goes.
Definitely. Now, Jesse, if I'm not mistaken, you also reviewed the game, right? So this is your time to go toe to toe with one of the legends of the industry and tell him why he's wrong, right?
No, he's absolutely correct. This game it's so special. Like, I share so many of those sentiments. Like, it is just like a carousel of fun ideas. It really just one after another. Every bind you go to has its. The first game had the similar thing where you go into someone's mind and it's a manifestation of themselves, and 2 just cranks it up to 11. It really does. Like, it takes these ideas and these sort of like problems that people have, like anxiety or depression or something, and it doesn't put it doesn't make it fun, because those things are not fun, but it puts this sort of zany twist on it and sort of finds a way to manifest those ideas in gameplay elements, right? Like, there are levels. I don't know how in depth y'all want me to go. I don't want to spoil anything or
don't spoil anything.
Yeah. No spoilers. But there are worlds in there that I think manifest really well as sort of their real life counterpart, right? Like, and just top to bottom, I think this game, from a platforming angle, even the combat feels so much better than, granted, it's been 16 years, but I think the way that you can use the powers and telekinesis and your side blasts and your other things, it just kind of like melts together and makes a very cohesive and very well-paced experience. I never felt like I was bogged down by any one room or challenge or whatever. You kind of go through these things at a brisk pace. And then there's just all these areas to explore. Like, it really rewards you for kind of checking around every nook and cranny of this world, and you get some really good character moments along the way. It just, man, that game is awesome.
It is. It really, and I think because I got to preview it with Blake earlier in the year, and I was a little anxious about the platforming and combat because it really, in that short of a look of it, I feel like I honed in on some of, like Reiner talked about, the lack of smoothness that something a Mario has, right? Even, that Ratchet and Clank had this year. But in my longer play session to get used to it, finding out, the right way to move around these environments, it's clicking in a way that, even as someone who's very hyped for this game, we got to do the cover on it, right? Like, it is exceeding those expectations. And I love my job for many reasons, but getting to play it alongside someone like, like Reiner, right? When I'm doing capture and stuff, like we're messaging each other about it. And just every world we got to, it was like, oh, this is feeling more and more special. Like it really feels
awesome.
It feels like Double Fine was really honed in on their storytelling, which was a big thing, right? The two highlights I took away from our cover story earlier this year was that they wanted to tell a story that had that Double Fine charm while also being more cognizant of mental health issues in the day and age that we're in, and also update the combat. And I think they've hit it out of the park on both fronts. I don't know. Did you guys have rumble in your controller, and did that bother you? I wanted a little bit more rumble when I was fighting. I don't know. That's just such a nitpick, but
I don't think I did. Yeah. But now that I think about it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I wanted a little bit more pack a punch there, you know what I mean? But it's not being left off my top 10 this year because of that. So also, please do yourself a favor. There's moments of quiet between the brains and some of your missions where you go and explore the Mother Lobe, which is the Psychonauts main command base. And then you can go around and talk to the other interns, the other characters. Make a point to do that, because there's some great side quests you can get and also some great dialogue. Some of the stuff that I've genuinely been laughing out loud at is just random encounters that I've found, especially with Sam, who is Dogen's sister from the first game. She's so funny.
And she's always funny. Every time she's on screen, it's like, oh, here we go. What's she gonna do?
Well, like, what do you got next? And there's a specific spot in probably like the first 4 or 5 hours where she's kind of off on her own that you really need to go and check out for yourself. So I haven't beat it yet, but I think if it progresses the way it's progressing for me, it will be a top 3 game for me this year, no question, maybe even game of the year. So it's early, right? We still have a ton left over, but like it has that feeling, that tingle in the back of your neck when you know you're playing something special, and I've loved every second of it. So
dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say, some of my favorite games this year are all the same variety. You brought up Ratchet and Clank, which is kind of this classic action platformer, which Double Fine also achieves with Psychonauts 2, but then also It Takes Two is another one that it's a new IP. It's more co-op driven, but it has a lot of those old school platforming charms and designs in the worlds. And I think those 3 games all sit in my top 10. It almost feels like I'm back on PlayStation 2, when we had Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper and all those games kind of hitting at the same time. It's wonderful. I love it. I love revisiting these genres in very dynamic, classic yet also modern ways, right? Like they kind of hit both of those grooves and are successful because of that.
And it feels fresh too, which is exciting to me too. Like with Ratchet, it felt like a newer experience because we've been devoid of that for so long in that high quality of way. So if you can't tell, we're all smitten with this thing. Now, Jesse, I think, at least on my timeline, which isn't the end all be all timeline, I think I only follow 600 people, but I believe you're the first person I've seen 100% the game. Is that correct?
As far as I'm aware, I'm the first person. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I don't know. I 100%ed it before the game was out to the public, so I'm gonna hope that I was the first person to do that.
World first.
Yeah.
World premiere.
Hey, Jeff Keighley will announce
Keighley
world exclusive
premiere. It sort of happened by accident.
I was the first person to say I'm not gonna 100% it. So
there you go. There you go. Got me beat on that one.
Two giants of the industry.
Can't compete. It kind of just happened. It was just one of those things where I was just having so much fun playing the game, and I wanted to see everything the game had to offer. I wanted those character moments, and I was like, okay, well, if I do this quest, then I'll get to talk to this character again, and if I go find this thing for this person or whatever, I wanted all of Raz's quips when I would buy a new item or I would go do something. So it just happened very naturally, and I think that's just like a really good strength of the game, because I'm not somebody who goes out and 100% games. I'm very much the type of person where as soon as I stop having fun with something, I usually stop playing it. I'm not even finish it maybe. But this game, I could not put down. I really couldn't. And Psychonauts is like my favorite PS2 game of that era. So like I don't think it's a huge surprise that I'm also in love with this game. But I think Double Fine just raised the bar, and it is one of their best works. Like it is a culmination of so many different ideas and moments that it really is something special. And currently my game of the year. You know, it dethroned Monster Hunter Rise. It did it. I didn't think it would be possible.
And on a more personal note, you know, Tim Schafer's been writing games forever. You know, he's one of the old LucasArts alumni. You know, like he was back there making those adventure games, and I think this is one of his best scripts as well. You know, just you know, there's other people that worked on it, but just the world that he created, the sense of universe that you're a part of, it feels like they could take this thing in any given direction now as they move forward. And I hope they do. I hope they get a chance. I hope this is successful, and I hope we get a Psychonauts 3 that hopefully won't take 16 years to come, because we're getting old. You know, we need these sequels pumped out every 3 years or so. Get on that routine. I would be there for them though. Day one, Psychonauts 3, bring it.
Keep it going, baby. We love to see it. So you can get that, as Reiner said, 9 out of 10. Big Game Informer score. You can check out his review on the site. Go check out Jesse's review on prima.com, correct?
Primagames.com.
Primagames.com. Thank you for the correction there. Be sure to watch the video review. It's available on Game Pass, Xbox, and PlayStation. I think that's one misconception I keep seeing everywhere is this is not an Xbox exclusive. Like, if you enjoyed Psychonauts before and you have a PlayStation, it is available to you. Go, enjoy it, be happy, be well. Now,
great.
Mr. Van Aken, what are you playing? What do you dazzle me today? What do you got?
Riders Republic, I've got hands-on time with the game now, about 5 hours at this point, maybe even 6. I've been sneaking in whenever I can, sneaking in more time into my session. But yeah, it's Ubisoft's massively multiplayer playground is what they describe it as. It is, if you are familiar with the studio's publisher's previous release, Steep, it takes a lot of ideas and foundations that are found in that game and kind of revamps them and makes them more fun and adds in this awesome open world that can be explored by mountain bike, by freaking jetpack, by skis, snowboards, snowmobiles. There's an ice cream truck you could unlock that has its own physics, or an ice cream bicycle, I should say. It is a very cool game, and I am absolutely surprised because I walked into my preview really hesitant and skeptical because I am not the biggest fan of Ubisoft's open worlds. I find a lot of the time I get overwhelmed with the things to do, and the things to do in a lot of their games don't really interest me, like clearing outposts and that kind of thing. Whereas this, I feel like, Ubisoft's been crafting these massive worlds for years now, ever since I don't even want to say a date because I'll be wrong, but way back they've been making these things forever, and I feel like it really pays off in Riders Republic. And I know that they like to apply that sort of open world formula to a lot of their games, and it kind of like The Club, for instance, right? It doesn't always work, but they try it. And I feel like Riders Republic really captures the essence of, being on an extreme sports team, riding around, exploring trails, kind of figuring out how you want to ride. If there's any shortcuts, you can kind of freely explore this world and then go and race. And the races take place in certain parts of the open world, but you can kind of, go around, explore. Oh, there's that giant, trail in Sequoia National Park. It's a downhill trail. I'm going to go check that out. So let me jetpack on over there. Maybe I'll meet up my friends later and we'll go do an event over there. But for now, I'm just going to explore the world and do my thing, right? I feel like that's the strength of this game is if you want all those activities that kind of populate Ubisoft open world games, they're there. But I think this game gets out of its own way, and NPCs over voice lines will tell you, "Hey, you're near something cool." But I didn't find that I was overwhelmed like I am in other open world games, and I kind of felt like I had the freedom to just kind of enjoy myself and bike around nature, whether at a slow, relaxing pace or breakneck speeds, as rocks and trees are whizzing by me. It's a really cool game, and I think its biggest strength is its game feel. Everything just the camera shake when you land a really good jump. The motion blur, typically, I'm not a fan of that in games, but in Riders Republic, it just works. Like having those objects whiz past you, the way that, the controller, even I didn't play on a DualSense, so I can't imagine. I really want to try that out, see how good that is. But like the controller rumble, like as I'm like drifting into a turn on gravel, it's just a really well-crafted game, and I think it's going to be a hit. Like I said, walked in really skeptical, wasn't sure how I felt about the idea of this game. Coming out, like this is now one of my most anticipated games for the fall, honestly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It comes out in October 28th. But I am smitten with this game. I still like, I'm so smitten. Yeah. I'm reserving, obviously final thoughts for the full release, but I went from no interest to, day one on this thing. So I am really excited.
Wow. That's
Sorry,
that's
I know I just word vomited all over the podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
You made me start thinking about SSX Tricky, one of my favorite extreme sports games, or what do they call them? Action sports. I don't know what they ended up landing on there, Tony Hawk and his crew. But that game was amazing and just freeing. And I want another experience like that, where it's just about you and your connection to the world and what you can do on it. Right. And I think it's been a long time coming. Like the Tony Hawk games are great. Those are more about this specific moment of hitting this trick, landing this one here, achieving this goal to get skate or whatever. This is just you and the terrain just kind of flowing together, and yeah, I'm on board with that. I want to check that out.
And don't get me wrong, there are tricks and there are trick events if you want to do them. But yeah, it's total. There's so much variety at play. I like the downhill sports and skiing and mountain biking. But I think the big attraction that Ubisoft is talking about are these 60. It depends on the platform you're on. If you're on next gen platforms, up to 64 player mass races, and it was very reminiscent of Fall Guys. They're regular trails, but they spawn 64 other real players, and you are barreling down this little tiny mountain path, and as you progress through each leg of the race, you'll hit like a jump, and you'll go through like the checkpoint, and suddenly instead of being on a mountain bike, you're on a rocket, like a jetpack, and now you're flying through the air like Diddy Kong Racing, and going to the next checkpoint. And then the third leg of the race, they put you on freaking rocket powered skis, and now you are going through like this wooded ravine with literal rockets on your feet. It's just like, it's wild. They have a lot of really fun modes, that one included, and it's just a really good time. I'm excited. I think it's up to 50 people simultaneously in that open world, and they also do like the player ghost thing.
Okay.
So how do they, when you're launching in the race, let's say you're in a race and you have 50 people at the start line, how do they keep it from everybody just bailing into each other right away? Do they have them invisible for a bit, or? Yeah,
for the first 6 seconds of the mass races, collision is turned off.
Okay.
And that kind of gives everybody time to kind of get their places. And then after that, collision is turned on. And you better watch where you're going.
I wish they would have launched it without the collision, were they in the testing process where they learned we got a big problem on our hands here, everybody's just bailing immediately. I would have liked to have been a part of that test. That sounds fun.
Maybe we'd be in arcade mode or something like that.
So yeah,
cool. I mean, you have injected me with hype there. And one of the new pieces out of Gamescom today is that the beta has turned into an open beta for Riders Republic until the 28th. So not a ton of time, but if y'all are listening to this when we first release it, go check it out. It's coming soon, or the beta's out now, but then the game is coming in October. So very exciting.
Worth checking out.
Any final thoughts, VA?
I do want to point out you can switch between third person and first person mode on the fly. And I really recommend playing in first person mode. It is really cool. You kind of see everything up close and personal. The game is gorgeous, by the way. It is. I was playing on PC, and wow, really pretty. And just seeing, things up close and personal in first person mode, and like the adrenaline rush you get and like everything's shaking and blurry, and you're just going like super fast down this slope. It's a really cool experience. So if you have the time, go check out the beta while you can.
Cool. There you go. Well, Reiner, I think I got a call from your cult, Reiner's Republic. It sounds like they're calling a meeting.
Yeah, coming October, what was it, Alex?
28th.
28th. Yeah, you can join it. So
is that what you're
join me.
Okay.
Up on the hill. Yeah, it's up on the hill. It's way up on the top.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I understand you have some planning you need to do, and we need to get you out of here for that. So, EIC, thank you so much, boss. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. All right, folks. Now that our Lord and Savior, Andrew Reiner, the head of the Reiner's Republic, is gone, let's have some fun, shall we?
He flew too close to the sun, you know?
As cult leaders tend to do, I've been told. Never
Parents are gone.
Myself. Yeah. Now the kids are playing, baby. We got it. We're gonna do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're gonna community some emails. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it. Housekeeping this week. We've got a new podcast review. We got several, but we're going to do one a week, calling them out. Thank you, everybody, for doing that. If you leave us a review over on Apple Podcasts, we will read it off on the show eventually, as long as it's not like scathing. Like, be honest, do your thing. But if you're like calling me fat, not going to read it out on the podcast. This is a 5-star review from Redimus Rex. Saying this show is dope. I started listening to this show during the start of the pandemic as I fell back into gaming as a hobby. Oh, that's awesome. I'm a longtime magazine reader, but I had never checked out the podcast. I love getting to hear from the staff every week on games I'm looking forward to, and I like that the show allows them to be themselves and show their personalities. I also think the variety of opinions and thoughts about video games and the industry challenged me to consider games and issues from different angles. Looking forward to the next era of the podcast with the Alex's Big Man Swag forever.
That's right, baby. Big Man Swag all day, every day.
People are saying we need t-shirts. We need t-shirts for Big Man Swag. I saw
them double XLs, baby. You know
I'd buy a Big Man Swag t-shirt.
You gotta love it. It's a lifestyle you have to live every day. I'm telling you, folks.
But we have to make it look like one of those shirts that you buy on Facebook. Like the algorithm t-shirts,
the ones that like it's just pulling information from your profile and just sticking it onto a t-shirt.
It's like I'm a gamer, but I'm married and I have Big Man Swag. Like that's the one I need.
I hate this and love this all.
I'm a gamer, but I've kissed a girl before. Like those kind of like Facebook t-shirts would be great. Yeah. We got upcoming Twitch streams this week. Day that this goes up, Thursday, we've got a stream. We're going to be doing a sponsored stream. Nerf is sponsoring a stream. We're going to be playing Aliens Fireteam Elite and talking about some new Nerf guns that are modeled after some Aliens goodness. So we'd love if you came in and showed some support. We appreciate Nerf, coming out and doing that for us and helping to keep the lights on. So lovely GI fam, we'd love it if you watched and showed your support. Notable YouTube videos this week. I've got my big one, How Breath of the Wild Made Me a Zelda Fan. I had a great time editing that one. It's short and sweet, about 5 minutes long. Would love for you to go check it out. And then also we put up our hands-on impressions of Riders Republic. It's different from an NGT this time. We're kind of, experimented a little with format on getting you some new gameplay and such, and have like more of an edited piece. So go check that out. If I don't know, you heard me blab about the game and you want to hear more, I guess.
That's also that's my nickname for Alex, by the way. Edited piece. When we roll into
I like that. I actually like that.
There you go.
Almost done, almost through housekeeping, and then we'll get to listener emails. We've got our 2022 video game release schedule. So all you game journos out there and fans of games that like to put stuff on your calendar, the 2022 video game release schedule is now live. There's not much on there, but as things get confirmed, like the stuff from Gamescom today, I'm sure we've already updated the list. And yeah, that's always a great resource to have. So go bookmark it. Recommend coming back and checking it out throughout the year. Lastly, follow everybody on the Twitters, on the Instagram. Our lovely host, Alex Stadnik. Follow him at Studnik76. That's Studnik 76. You can follow me, Alex Van Aken, at It's Van Aken. That's ITSVANAKEN. And follow our friend Jesse Vitelli, our special guest, at Jesse Vitelli, Vitelli. And what's Reiner's plug? At Andrew Reiner. At
Andrew_Reiner.
Yeah, go follow him too.
Yeah, he says.
Our boss. Alex, that's all the housekeeping this week.
It's a clean house.
good.
I love it. It's shining. The candles are lit.
It's
It
tidy.
smells wonderful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Can I quick plug something too?
Yeah,
Just real
totally.
quick. Real quick. Just as Reiner said, I want to double down on it. Make sure you know that this month's cover, Marvel's Midnight Suns, we got the cover story, baby, written by the one and only Ben Reeves. We got online content coming from. Oh yeah, we got him, baby. You kidding me?
Do we have gameplay?
Gameplay, my sweet man, you better believe we got gameplay. Oh,
That was
baby.
a real question because we haven't had it.
Haven't had it in a little bit. Correct. Yes, we have gameplay to show. I know a lot of people are going to be curious and excited about it. We can't show anything quite yet, but that is coming. So very, very, very excited. So
I'm sold. Maybe I'll buy one of these Game Informer magazines sometime.
You know, maybe you should. I'd encourage.
Maybe I'll support it. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll let Alex get his sub game on because right now we're turning to the community that matters. That's right, folks. Community emails, one of the highlights of our day, our week, even, dare I say. So we talked about it a little last week. Community emails are here to stay. We love hearing from y'all. We're having a lot of fun. Heat map, the new segment of the show that we announced, we're gonna start that next week. Because we're getting some genuinely some really good submissions, and I kind of want to compile some and make it a little segment in itself.
Yeah, so you still have time to get yours in.
Yes, and for those who don't know what heat map is, this is a new segment of the GI show where we're encouraging people, and I think some people were confused about this a little bit, but we're encouraging people to submit audio hot takes. So actually, message us at podcast or email us at podcast@gameinformer.com with an MP4 or MP3 or M4
Yeah,
whatever.
If you have an iPhone, use your voice memos app. Talking into your phone.
Yeah.
Tell us your hot take, spicy but respectful take.
Yes.
60 seconds or less is kind of the general guideline.
Yeah, I was seeing a minute 20. Try to keep it under a minute if you can. But keep sending those in, and we're gonna do those next week. I'm very excited about that. So shout out to everyone who sent them in. So, but let's focus on the present. Right? Present is a gift.
Yep.
And we got some good emails this week. Starting off with Andre from Toronto, Ontario. Beautiful, beautiful world. Hello, Game Informers. I hope all is well. It is. Thank you for checking in. After playing the Back 4 Blood beta and really feeling that Left 4 Dead style, but enjoying the new things that Turtle Rock added to make Back 4 Blood its own game, what other franchises would you like to get a spiritual successor in the same way that Back 4 Blood is to Left 4 Dead? Now, I was raised in a house where we treat our guests with respect. And Mr. Vitelli, would you like to kick us off here?
I would love to. Thank you very much. Very respectful. I thought a lot about this, and I have an answer.
Swear to God, if he takes mine.
Viva Pinata.
Oh my God, he took it.
Yes.
I even had a bit. I was going to say, because I was like, it can't be the same name. So I was going to call it Live Stuffed Animals, Viva Pinata, And this man, I knew he was going to take it.
Oh, honey.
You should know we're both Viva Pinata sickos.
We are.
We both want that franchise back, and we want it with the respect it deserves. And so, anytime I get a franchise question that's like, well, what's an old franchise you would love to come back in either a new form or, similar form? I got Psychonauts 2 already. I already got the other answer. So it's Viva Pinata now.
Nice.
I don't exactly know how I would want it changed, but I just want more of it. So any form of gardening and collecting cute pinatas that can then dance and have children and be busted open with candy, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I love it. Is there any things you would want to see different in the next gen version of that?
The controls definitely are a little stilted and a little it's an older game, and it's got that sort of computer mouse cursor that all games love to have now. But on the 360 and wasn't done super well. So I'd love to see cleaned up UI and just more focus on getting pinatas, because the sequel kind of goes in a weird direction where it's you're packaging them and sending them off to parties. It's not very unclear as to why. And they start doing some other weird stuff. I just want here, you look at all these games now that are gardening and farming and give me a really robust you can totally customize your garden, add ponds and stuff you can, but just expand it out and just Like Pokemon, give me 150 new pinatas. Just give me 150 new ones.
Go. Yeah.
There we go.
I love it.
Pokemon competitor. And then they could battle.
Oh, that's okay.
Battle
Now
the
we're getting
pinata.
spicy. I like that.
Turn-based combat.
Just blowing the whole thing out. I can see that. So, VA, you doing okay, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Besides Jesse stealing my thunder, but I'm used to it. That's what happens when you let people get too close to you. They start to steal your thunder on your own damn podcast.
Hey, y'all let me go first.
Yeah, it's Alex's fault.
I'll take the L.
Oh, what was I gonna say? I had one. I had a really good one. That I'm blanking on. Alex, you go first.
Oh, Viva Pinata.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, we figured it out.
I really did have a replacement, and I forgot it.
We can come back to it, or if not, we can move on. So, gentlemen, let me take you back to a time. A time when most licensed games weren't that great, but a time of our childhood, right? Where it was okay that some of those games that weren't great. The ultimate. I love Ultimate Spider-Man. It's a great game, but the superhero games of yore. One of the main standouts of that era was the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, a game that put you as the gnarling green giant. I was trying to think of another name for him. I was running out of creativity as the day goes on. But you play as the Hulk, and it was this open world sandbox that was one of the best power fantasies for a superhero, I think, of its time. And I wonder if it holds up today. Probably not. I haven't played in a while. But it was in the name, right? You got to absolutely shred the towns that you were in, and this was the developers that eventually did the prototype games.
Okay, yeah.
So that DNA was very well founded in that, and for a game that came out in the early 2000s, it like I said, it embodied that superhero spirit and the fun of what Hulk can be in a video game, right? Absolutely tearing through the town, and I think we're due for something like that. Give me Insomniac's open New York with Dice's destructibility from the Battlefield games, and let me go to town, baby. He had the ability to rip a tank in half and create gloves for himself. He had these energy blasts that I feel like would feel so good on that DualSense controller, while also looking spectacular if the right destruction tech was behind that. Right? I know Dice is busy, but I would love to see a company kind of step up, and I don't care. The story is the story. It's all the normal tropes were there, but just give me more absolute carnage of just wrecking tanks and the Abomination and the whole thing. And I would love to go back to that game in a modern sense. So that's my pick.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I think my pick, now that I remember it, would have been City of Heroes. I actually recently went back on a fan server, City of Heroes Homecoming, and have been really enjoying playing with a lot of those old systems and mechanics. And to this day, probably one of the best character creators ever in a game. And essentially, you get to make your own hero. Make them give their own look. You can mimic other heroes that or there's there's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to the customization options in that game. And the game came out in 2004. Yeah, so it was ahead of its time in that regard, and still there hasn't been a superhero MMO. There's DC Universe Online, no shade. Just I want one that is more focused on less licensed heroes and more just like a unique IP that is superhero based, that is an MMO, or some sort of big multiplayer experience. And yeah, I miss that game. I love that you could just kind of equip your tool set and you could be like, okay, I want to be a fire blaster. I'm gonna shoot Nova beams, but then I'm gonna have a machine gun as my secondary ability. I'm gonna mind control people, and then I'm gonna control Earth, and I'm gonna encase people in rock tombs and stuff. There was a whole suite of powers that could be mixed and matched. And then I think when you got to level 15, you unlocked traversal abilities. So the Hulk, you could super jump and just jump across entire cities. You had super speed, which was wild to control back in 2004 on a mouse and keyboard as a kid. You could fly, you could teleport. It was so good. I want a spiritual successor to that.
There we go. We could call it Metropolis of the Mighty.
Yeah.
There's a name for
Or Mighty Metropolis might be better, but
Mighty Metropolis. I like that. That is better. Stupid Alex. Cool. Well, Andre, thank you so much for that question. It was lovely. All righty. We got a banger from Andrew Flanagan here. From Riverside, California. Andrew says, "Hello, crew." Or hey, excuse me. I don't mean to misrepresent here. I enjoyed your discussion a while back on video game movies and TV shows. Would like to discuss it further. Primarily The Last of Us. There seems to be two major opinions of the future show. Opinion A, I've already seen it while playing the game. Why are we bothering with this story? Opinion B, I enjoyed it and want to experience again, but don't want to play through the whole thing again. Hooray. I like the interjections of positivity here. This is good. Of the two, I am of the mindset of B, but I propose a different view altogether. I loved option C. I loved this story and want to share it with people, including the ones that never play and complete the game. Now I have a way to enjoy this amazing story with them. My wife plays games, but not this kind of game. Gameplay might be important in experiencing the game, but not that important in a character-driven, story-focused game like Last of Us. No more than seeing the movie in theaters. It might make it better, but it can be appreciated nonetheless. What are your thoughts on this now? Are you more A, B, and C? And are there any games you wish you could share with a non-gamer friend or more casual gamer? I think we'll focus on the main question of Last of Us because I think this is an interesting talker, especially as we find out more and more what's going on here. So, gents, I don't know. Do I dare start with Jesse down there? Or should I go to you right away, Alex?
I'm just curious. Have they said if it's a 1-to-1 retelling?
So from what we've seen from set photos and what I understand, yes, they are retreading a lot of similar ground. To the extent I don't know if it's going to be shot for shot type of thing, but all the characters are there. All the casting is there for a retelling of this story.
I don't know. I have a feeling like films never stay totally true to the source material. They often deviate and, add their own flourishes and scenarios. I bet this one does the same thing.
The show.
Yeah. So I'm optimistic. And even if it is the exact same thing, I'm interested to see it realized in film and kind of, they're so as good as The Last of Us story is in the games. There's just a quality and a organic nature that film taps into that games haven't quite gotten to yet. Not to disparage Last of Us, I think it's an incredible game, one of my favorites, and it's one of the best stories in games, and that includes its delivery. But nothing matches the real thing, right? Like film, and so I don't think it's gonna be better per se, but just different.
I just want on the record that this is a TV show, right? Because you keep saying film.
Whatever, they got cameras, dude.
They do film it on. Yes, correct. Yeah,
TV show rather.
There we go.
And I'm excited to, even if it is the same beats, I'm sure since it is a TV show, they're going to dive deeper into things that maybe this was happening while I was busy killing zombies in the game. Meanwhile, this side story was happening. Like I'm excited for that kind of stuff. So.
Definitely. Yeah. Jesse, where do you fall on this?
With The Last of Us, it's interesting because my dad is somebody who played games when I was young, but doesn't play games anymore. I think the second analog stick really threw him off his game with the controllers. And so Fair. I've been trying to explain to him, I'm like, no, games can tell really interesting stories. You watch so much TV and film, like there are games out there, and I've used The Last of Us as an example. Like, it was like, oh, you love the Tomb Raider games, and they made the series Uncharted. Well, they also made this other thing, The Last of Us. And so I like the television show aspect of it because now he can experience that story without me having to nag him to play a video game.
Yeah.
And so on that respect, I love when games can do this, but at the same time, it's worrisome because part of a game is player agency, right? It's part of it is playing the thing. And so when you remove something that is so innate to it, does the story stand on its own? And I'm not here to say one way or the other, but when the show comes out, we'll find out, right? but it's an interesting concept of like games are a medium that can't be replicated by other things because of the fact that you control them, and the story works because it's broken up by you doing activities with your hands, like shooting or climbing or jumping or whatever. And so since The Last of Us is so modeled after television and movies in terms of its like cinematography, like now we've got a game that's based off of like movies or like inspired by now becoming a television show. And so it's like, how many times can that switch hands before it just becomes kind of like whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a long-winded way of saying who's to say.
Perfect. Yeah. That's what podcasts are for, right? Long-winded answers to be like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I think my initial, like, I love the castings. Like I think they're hitting all the right marks in that way. I think my initial reaction was a bit of disappointment because this was already, I'm getting to the age now where I don't, when my video games are getting ported to the small screen, the big screen, what have you. When I was a kid, I wanted those 1-to-1s. I wanted to have Gears of War 1 on the big screen to replicate those feelings, right? But now as I've gotten older, I feel like I've understood more now that, like you said, Jesse, that this is, games are special because we control them in you know, or we have the illusion of control over them, right? Like BioShock has pointed out in the past. So I was hoping, because there's a lot of time that The Last of Us 2 covers that we don't know about Joel and Ellie, right? We don't know their story. We don't know what kind of went on. You know, we know now a little bit more after the sequel, but I was really hoping it would start in that territory. But then I was like, wait, dude, this is they're not doing a miniseries. This is TV. Like, they're going to have multiple series. So if they can retell that first game in one season and then dive into some of the more meaty stuff, the stories that we don't know, and have that creative license there, then I think it's a win-win for everyone, right? Because then you get the crowd who hasn't played it, who doesn't, you know, have the ability to play Last of Us, and they're in on the story, and then you can bring in people like us who know that story front to back and tell interesting pieces with Druckmann there and Naughty Dog there to guide the way. And I think that's very exciting because it, you know, HBO for the most part doesn't fund flops. You know, obviously there's some outliers here and there, right? And now that HBO Max is a thing, there's the prestige is gone a little bit, but like who's behind this, especially like the creative team behind Chernobyl is with this too. I think that's a perfect pairing. I think there's a lot to be excited about, and I think eventually, if things go well, right? I can't imagine this first season doesn't get viewership. It's one of the biggest names in games on one of the biggest, you know, streamers right now. Like, you know, I think if this goes well, this presents that opportunity to feed both of those sources of fandom in exciting ways. So, and we'll see. Maybe they try to do too much 1-for-1 and it doesn't work, and we only get a season or two. But I have faith until they show me otherwise. So I also don't know how I'm going to keep myself together in some of those moments, especially in the intro of the show, because there was they tweeted out the picture of, it was like first day of filming, and they're in the car with Joel and Tommy and Joel's daughter, and they're all smiling and happy. And I was like, I know what happens after this. Don't you dare smile at me right now. I'm not mentally prepared for this. Yeah. So I'm excited. I like going in with hype, you know, and if I'm disappointed, that is what it is. But, you know, I think there's enough going for it that I'm still looking forward to it. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Last one. Do one more. Uno más.
Yeah. All right.
One more.
Full transparency with the viewers and listeners. This question was, I picked it because Reiner was going to be here, but he had to go slaughter some lambs, you know. So we will do our best.
I forgot that we were doing the cult reference thing, and I was really confused for a second. I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that joke."
Yeah, that's right. That's a thing. So we'll do our best to answer this. I think we're accustomed to kids' games too, right? We're in the video game industry. So this is from Mike Peck from Ryan. Idaho is IA, right? The abbreviation. Am I showing my ass here a little bit? Okay, cool.
Wait, I what?
No, is that Iowa?
Iowa. IW is Iowa, right? IA.
I don't know.
maybe cut this. I don't know.
No, this is great. No. This is
You're
great content.
The state is IA. Is that right?
Yeah.
The abbreviation. Yeah.
It's Iowa.
Okay, what's Idaho? ID.
ID.
I'm the idiot.
I was right.
And IQ, yours is very low.
I did not do well in high school. Mike says, I have a brother-in-law that doesn't play many games, and I would like to get my nieces and nephew into gaming. I'd like to get everyone's viewpoint on the matter. I think it would be great to get them a Wii U because it's a great library and doesn't break the bank. Or should I go with the Switch and buy only a couple of games? I did this with my kids, and we got the Wii U because it was cheaper and easier for the kids controller-wise. I don't want to spend a lot of money just in case they're not interested. Thanks for the advice. From Mike. It's a great question, Mike. Where do we start? I think when we get these questions, I like pushing people to a little bit of future proofing. Because on the flip side, if they do like the system, there's a lot of games coming for the Switch. The Switch, I don't know if y'all have seen this, but Switch is popular, making bread these days, as the kids say. But I get the fear of the point of entry, but there's also, I guess I don't know what a Wii U goes for these days, but the Switch Lite is an option, right? Alex, you and your wife have a Switch Lite, correct?
Yeah, and I played it and love it. I think it's perfect for kids and families. You don't get to dock it or anything, but I only play my Switch in handheld anyways, except for when I'm capturing videos for Game Informer. So for my use case, if I didn't have this job, I would totally just play Switch Lite because the screen's better in my opinion. The form factor is really good. Can't go wrong. And I think like at the price $199, I think you'll be hard pressed to get a Wii U for. Maybe Wii U's are like what, 150
maybe. That's my gut reaction. Yeah,
depends.
I'm looking
on
at eBay right
where
now.
you're looking, right? Like there could be some sort of like flea market or something where you can get some cheap stuff for Wii U, because I think if you're trying to buy a Wii U now, it's relatively expensive because they like stopped production on those. They're becoming somewhat of a rarity.
I'm seeing on eBay about $120 for the 32 gigabyte black console with gamepad. Another one here with Nintendo Land for $150. These are sold listings. $169 for a couple games, $180 for a couple games.
All right, so
it is
a difference of about $80. Which is multiple games for that in that case. So
so if there is a good avenue there, and the Wii U, as we're finding out with all these ports, had a pretty good lineup that a lot of people didn't get to touch.
Also Virtual Console.
That too,
which is
a great
huge
point.
So if you want to play older games, I know that's sometimes a hard sell for kids when they're looking at the newest stuff and the shiniest stuff. But if you get a Wii U and you get Virtual Console in there, there's possibilities are endless, really. So
there's a lot of good history lessons in there, and not just, I know former GI staffer Joe Juba kind of bristled at history lessons for the sake of history lessons sometimes for games, but I think there's a lot of great SNES content on there that are still fun, with like something like Super Metroid or Super Mario World, that kind of stuff. So that is a definite. On the flip side, though, for the Switch, there's a great indie lineup on the Switch that you can take advantage of. It's not just the $60 for the first party games. There's a lot of great stuff. Depending on, I was gonna recommend Ape Out, but I don't know how old the kids are, and I don't know if that's the right game to play with.
Great game kids. Though.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game, and but there's a lot of indie games that I think y'all can have some fun with. Like Heave Ho comes to mind. Is a wonderful,
great one.
It's a wonderful game. That you already, with the Switch, if you go with a regular Switch compared to Switch Lite, you already have two controllers, so you're already playing together. There's a lot of great party games out there, and I feel like the more, and this is, forgive me, I don't have kids, but like I feel like the more you can involve the kid and feel like they're running the show, or like respecting their ability in that too, I think the more into the game they're going to be. And then there's the classics like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Smash Bros, that kind of stuff. So I promise we're not copping out by saying I don't think there's a wrong answer here, because I think
you can't go wrong
both.
For your
I do have another answer though.
Oh,
this one's a little more complicated. But hear me out.
Here we go.
Xbox Game Pass and xCloud. therefore, if your nieces and nephews have an iPad or a phone or like any sort of device, you could just get them a controller and like Xbox Game Pass, and then they could play a bunch of stuff. I mean, obviously, monitor what they are accessing depending on their age, but I think that's also a relatively cheap option that we're seeing more and more of now. Where it's like most people are getting smartphones or iPads or whatever younger and younger, right? Mm-hmm. And so, there are plenty of great mobile games, but if you want to kind of get them in on some of the newer stuff, Game Pass and a controller for their phone is like a relatively cheap investment compared to buying some of these other more expensive
And then
consoles.
If they really do like it and you want to upgrade, you can, get an Xbox Series S.
Yeah. That's a really good call out. That's a really good
in stock for what, $250, right?
For what?
Like MSRP? S? Yeah, $250, I think.
I think it's 3.
Oh, is that 3? Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I haven't been able to find one to buy one, so I don't know.
Exactly. So so a lot of great options there. Mike, let us know what I love when people write back in and tell us what they decided on. So I love, Jesse, I think that's a great call out for Xbox Game Pass. So
totally.
You know what I think was a great call out?
What?
Having Jesse on the show.
I think so. Whoever's idea that was a really good idea.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. We've shared the Twitters, but one more time, Jesse, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at Jesse Vitelli, JesseVitelli, and you can find my work at Prima Games on Twitter. I think it's just at Prima Games.
Hell yeah!
Don't quote me on that, but try it. You'll find it.
You'll find it. We promise you. Yeah. Alex Van Aken.
Hello.
You're such a beautiful man. I appreciate you. Appreciate you doing the show with me.
Likewise.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You know the drill. Be sure to leave your reviews. Send us your hot takes. Like, New Era GI Show, baby. We're here. We're out here. We're having some fun. Next week, another great guest coming on. Not going to tell you who yet, but very, very excited for that one. And until then, be good to one another. Thank you for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.